Hello students, today we are going to discuss, let's begin. So today we are going to start combination of lens and mirror. So what we are going to discuss, let us see. We will be first getting combination of lens, we will first be putting lenses in contact and then we will be putting lenses at some separation, and then we will be having combination of lens and mirror, then we will be putting lens and mirror in contact and then we will be keeping them at some separation. So this is what we are going to learn today. Now we have several questions regarding this. Have you ever wondered how we are able to see heavenly bodies such as stars, planets, galaxies, craters of moon, rings of Saturn, satellites of Jupiter, to name a few? Universe is full of such wonders. So how we could get beautiful pictures of those universal objects? Now if we think smaller objects, how we could get wonderful pictures of blood cells, bacteria and extremely small objects? How we could get those beautiful pictures? We will be finding those pictures. How we could get sufficiently bright pictures at low light? As you could see, light from distant planets and galaxies are very feeble, small amount of light comes, but still we get beautiful pictures of them. How we could get that? What happens to light while passing through different lens and mirrors? When light passes through lenses and mirrors and their combination, then what happens to light? How image is formed? Those things we will be getting now. And the answer to all such questions is combination of lenses and mirrors. Now what happens in the combination? When light passes through different lenses and mirrors, they get deviated, and deviation caused by each apparatus is added up to give net deviation and power of the combination. So when light passes through different apparatus, each of them deviate light from its path, and net deviation is obtained from the sum of all those deviations. So let us see some pictures. We need to see how we could get beautiful pictures of micro world as well as mega world. We could see beautiful pictures of both sides of the world. So you could see an alien like face of an ant, image of bacteria, face of a mosquito, our red blood cells. All these are taken from combination of lenses. Now we could see the mega world. We have picture of nebula, rings of Saturn, our Milky Way galaxy, craters of moon. You could see all these pictures were taken by combination of lens and mirror. To understand the combination of lens and mirror, to get the derivations, we need to get first the idea of power of lens and mirror, how they are related, how we could get their power. So here we have two lenses on which parallel rays of light are falling. Lens 1 is converging it at a distance at f1 at some smaller distance, while lens 2 is converging light rays at larger distance. You could see this is f1 and this is f2, and you could see f1 is lesser than f2. What else you could see? You could see one more thing, the deviation caused by first lens and the deviation caused by the second lens. You could see delta 1 is greater than delta 2. That means lens 1 is bending light by larger amount. The lens which bends light rays by larger amount is more powerful. So f1 is more powerful as it could bend light by larger amount, f2 is less powerful. Now here we need to understand one more thing. Here P1 is greater than P2. So we could write as deviation is more, lens is more powerful, P1 is greater than P2. You could see f1 is less than f2 and P1 is greater than P2. So power and focal length are inversely related. The unit of power is diopter, whereas unit of focal length is in meter. So, when we put focal length in meter, we get power in diopter, where we can write 1 diopter is equal to 1 meter inverse. This is how power of lens and mirror related with their focal length. Here remember one more thing, that we consider power to be positive when the instrument is able to converge light rays, then power is taken positive. But if light diverges, then power is taken to be negative. So, let us first get the power of lenses. First you could see, for converging lens, it converges light rays, its power is positive, focal length is also positive. Whereas, for a diverging lens, power is negative as light rays are diverging, and focal length is also negative as it is in the left side of the lens. So, you could see that power and focal length are of same sign. So, here proportionality constant is taken plus 1. So, power of lens is 1 upon Fl. Now, let us see about the mirror. You could see a converging mirror where parallel beam of light are coming and are getting converged at focus. So, converging mirror has, concave mirror has power positive, but its focal length is negative. So, power and focal length has opposite sign. Now, if you think of the diverging mirror or convex mirror, light rays are getting diverged. So, power is negative, whereas its focal length is positive. So, for lens, for mirror, power and focal length has opposite sign, the proportionality constant is minus 1. As you could see, proportionality constant is minus 1. So, power of mirror is minus of focal length of mirror. Got it? Now, we need to get the first part, that is thin lenses in contact. So, we put several lenses in contact. As you could see, we have taken 3 lenses, they are in contact. Now, if you notice that each lens is deviating light rays. From first lens, say delta 1 is the deviation, from second lens delta 2 is the deviation, from third lens delta 3 is the deviation, and so on. So, net deviation is added up. If you could see that when we add up these deviations, be careful with about the sign. If one is deviating in opposite direction, then we need to subtract that deviation. So, deviation has to be added along with their sign. So, if we can get net deviation is sum of deviation caused by each lens. Deviation is related to power. If one can deviate or bend light rays by larger amount, it is more powerful. So, deviation and power are proportional. From there we can write net power is sum of power of each lens and mirror. For lens, we already know power and focal length are inversely related and the proportionality constant is plus 1. So, from here we can write 1 by F net is equal to 1 by F1 plus 1 by F2. In this way, we add up the focal lengths of each lens. Now, you need to be careful whenever you take power or focal length, you need to be careful about the sign. You need to check whether the lens or mirror is converging light rays or diverging light rays. Here you need to remember one more thing, and that thing is that whenever you calculate focal length of a particular lens, suppose you are trying to find out focal length of this particular lens, then the surrounding which you will be taking is the surrounding from which light is coming or to which light is finally going. You will not be considering the refractive index of adjacent lenses. You do not need to take care of that refractive index. You need to calculate focal length of each lens in a common surrounding. That common surrounding means in which object or final image is present or observer is present. So, you need to take care of that refractive index of the medium and not the refractive index of adjacent lenses. So, that is one thing you need to take care of, and apart from that you need to take care of the sign of the lenses. If you try to find out the magnification, net magnification caused by the combination, that will be product of magnification caused by each of the lens. So, net magnification is obtained from the product of magnification of each lens. Now, let us see some problems, some simple problems. We have two thin glass lenses and they are, when nothing is mentioned, we will be considering two thin equiconvex glass lenses. Glass lenses of focal lengths 20 centimeter and 30 centimeter in air are placed in contact with their principal axis coinciding, then find the power of the combination. So, when two lenses are placed in contact, equivalent focal length you can get F equivalent 1 upon F equivalent equal to 1 by F1 plus 1 by F2, from which we can write it to be F1 F2 upon F1 plus F2. That is, if you put the value 20 into 30 by 20 plus 30, that is 600 by 50, or that is equal to 12 centimeter is the focal length. Now, if you convert this 12 centimeter into meter unit, it is 0.12 meter and you get power to be equal to 1 upon 0.12 diopter. So, that you can look at the calculation, from which you get focal length to be 12 centimeter and power to be 1 upon 0.12 diopter or 8.33 diopter. Now, we make certain changes in this combination. What we do? We put a bit of water between the lenses. When I put a little bit of water, now if water is filled in the space between the two lenses, then find the effective focal length of the combination. So, between F1 and F2 I have one more lens and that is water lens. Now, the common surrounding is air. To the left of the lens we have, to the left of the first lens we have air, to the right of the first lens we have air. So, we need to find focal length of water lens in air, that is I need to find 1 upon F W in A. To get that, I need to find the radius of curvature of two surfaces. Now, you need to remember one more thing. I hope that you remember that for equiconvex or equiconcave glass lens in air, focal length is equal to its radius of curvature. That you could see, that here you could see focal length how it is equivalent to radius of curvature. Refractive index of glass with respect to air minus 1, we are using the lens maker's formula 1 by r minus 1 by minus r, that you could see if this surface has radius of curvature plus r, the other surface has radius of curvature minus r. Okay. If you put refractive index of glass, then you could get 3 by 2 minus 1 into 2 by r or 1 by r. So, focal length of equiconvex or equiconcave glass lens in air has value equal to radius of curvature. So, if you use that particular idea for water lens, left side has radius of curvature, you could see that is minus 20 centimeter and right side has radius of curvature plus 30 centimeter. So, for water lens in air you could get 4 by 3 by 1 minus 1. So, it is 1 by 3 into 1 by minus 20 minus 1 by plus 30, that is minus 1 by 36. So, water lens in air has a focal length minus 36 centimeter. Now, we have combined these three lenses and we get 1 by F1 plus 1 by Fw plus 1 by F2. If I put their values, I get it to be 1 by 18. 1 by 18 means focal length of these three lenses comes out to be 18 centimeter. Now, what we do? We put the entire system in water. I dip the entire system in water, then water lens gets vanished. Water lens in water has no meaning. So, that lens is no more present. Now, we again have two lenses in water in contact. So, what will happen? when we put glass lens in water and if refractive index is known, glass has refractive index 3 by 2 and water has refractive index 4 by 3, then that glass lens focal length becomes 4 times of that in air. That you can find for glass lens in water, you can find focal length. For glass lens in water, it is 4 by 3 upon 3 by 2, so that is 9 by 8 minus 1 into 2 by r, that is 1 upon 4 r. So, focal length of glass lens in water becomes 4 times of radius of curvature, and initially it was equal to radius of curvature. Okay. So, previously it was equal to radius of curvature glass lens in air, and now for glass lens in water it is 4 times radius of curvature. So, initially it was 12 centimeter, now 4 times of that, it is 48 centimeter. So, this is how we could get focal length of combination of lenses. Now, if I put two lenses at some separation, then we get the formula, but that formula is finally useful to get certain values, but to solve problems that formula is not at all useful, but still for understanding how it works, that will be finding how to get equivalent focal length when two lenses are placed at some separation. So, we have two lenses placed at some separation, light coming from first lens getting deviated, and then again through second lens it gets deviated and we get final image. For final image we have an equivalent lens here, we need to find equivalent focal length, this we need to find, and we also need to find where should we place this equivalent lens. So, for parallel beam of light, the convergence is at the focus of the first lens. So, this particular distance of f1 from first lens is the focal length of the first lens. Distance of the equivalent focal length is f equivalent from the equivalent lens. This is our equivalent lens. Okay, this is f1, this is f2, and this is equivalent lens. Their values I have given at the beginning itself. How to get those values, that we will be getting. Okay. So, equivalent power of the combination is given by P1 plus P2 minus P1 P2D. That is, when we keep them in contact they are more powerful, but as we increase their separation their power decreases by this particular factor. Equivalent focal length comes out to be f1 f2 upon f1 plus f2 minus d, and equivalent position of the equivalent lens comes out to be d into f1 minus d by f2 plus f1 minus d, that is the equivalent distance. Now, let us calculate that particular value. The calculation, you need to be careful to understand that particular calculation. From first lens image is formed at f1, this f1 is object for the second lens and final image is formed. So, distance of object from the second lens, this particular distance, from first lens the distance is f1, the separation is d. So, this particular distance is f1 minus d. This is object for the second lens, that is you can write this as to be u2. So, from here you get v2, v2 you know, for lens you know v is equal to uf by u plus f, that you know, and u we have already got f1 minus d. So, if we put u2 here we get v2. So, we got v2. Now, we need to check similar triangles. Let us see similar triangles. First we get this particular triangle, this bigger one, this particular triangle, and the smaller one, this particular triangle. So, they are similar triangles, so their ratio of height and base will be equal. So, ratio of height and base means h1 by this particular distance f1. Let me write it here, h1 by f1 has to be equal to, this is h2 and this particular distance is v2. So, h1 by h2 will become F1 by V2, and V2 we already got this one. So, F equivalent by V2, that will be getting here, and for the next one you could see this particular triangle and the smaller triangle. So, this H1 by this particular distance, that is F equivalent, H1 by F equivalent is equal to H2 by V2. So, H1 by H2 comes out to be F equivalent by V2. Now, solving these two, we get F equivalent to be equal to F1 V2 by F1 minus D. You put the value of V2, and putting the value of V2, we get F equivalent to be equal to F1 F2 upon F1 plus F2 minus D. And as you get equivalent focal length, you get the inverse of this, and we get the relation of power. How to get D equivalent? D equivalent you can get from here. You could get D equivalent to be equal to D plus V2 minus F equivalent. Let us see. D plus V2 is this particular distance, okay, and from it if you subtract F equivalent, you get D equivalent. So, D plus V2 minus F equivalent gives us the D equivalent position of the equivalent lens, that is the distance of first lens. So, if we put the value of V2 and F equivalent, we get this to be equal to D equivalent to be equal to dF1 minus F2 D by F2 into F1 minus D. Okay. So, that is our idea of lenses at some separation, but here in question you will not be using this relation to find image position. How you will be getting? First you will be getting image from the first lens, that will be object for the second lens, and then you will further get the image position, that is you need to calculate this particular value. These formulas can be directly used if equivalent focal length is asked or equivalent distance is asked, then only you will be using. Now, here you see we have two lenses F1 and F2 separated at some distance, and a parallel beam of light is incident on it. Then we need to find, see what is the question, a converging and a diverging lens of focal lengths 30 centimeter and 10 centimeter are placed coaxially at a separation that a parallel beam of light of intensity I emerges parallelly. So, light is incident parallelly and emerging parallelly. Find separation between the lenses and intensity of emergent light. Even without using any formula, you could get the position, the separation between the lenses. That can be done very easily. You see, for parallel beam of light on converging lens, it is supposed to converge at the focus, primary focus of the converging lens at F1. So, this distance has to be equal to 30 centimeter. Now, the rays are coming out parallelly from the diverging lens. That means, the rays are converging to secondary focus of the second lens. If this is secondary focus of the second lens, this particular distance has to be equal to 10 centimeter. So, what is the separation between the lenses? That is 30 minus 10, that is equal to 20 centimeter, that is the separation between the lenses. This you can do by the formula also, that parallel rays are emerging parallelly. That is, the effectiveness of the combination is that it has not converged or diverged light rays. That is, power of the combination is 0. If power is 0, means focal length is infinite. So, if you use that particular concept of infinite focal length in our previous formula, then you could see here, if you see F equivalent to be infinite, then F1 plus F2 minus D has to be equal to 0. If F1 plus F2 minus D is 0, then D is equal to F1 plus F2, that is, from here you get D is equal to F1 plus F2. F1 is 30 centimeter, F2 is minus 10 centimeter. 30 minus 10, it comes out to be 20 centimeter, but from the formula you cannot visualize what is happening. But without formula, here if you look at how rays are going, you can visualize and answer this particular question. Now we have a second part of the question. Intensity of incident light is I. We need to find intensity of emergent beam. How emergent beam has changed intensity? You could see the amount of light falling on the converging lens and the amount of light coming out from the diverging lens in unit time has to be equal. We have not considered them to be absorbing certain amount of energy. So, if we consider equal amount of energy is passing through both the lenses, this energy is falling on larger area, and when it is coming out, it is coming through smaller area. If same amount of energy passes through smaller area, the flux density becomes higher or intensity becomes higher. And how this intensity gets changed? Let us see. The intensity and area, they are interrelated. How they are interrelated? If energy is fixed, if constant amount of energy is passing, then intensity and area are inversely related. That is, from more area, if light is going, it will have less intensity, and if light is going through lesser area, it will be having more intensity. So, we could write here intensity to be inversely proportional to area of the beam through which light is going, and area is proportional to square of its aperture. Now, the initial incident beam has let aperture A1 and emergent beam has aperture A2. So, intensity is inversely proportional to square of aperture. So, I dash by I dash is the intensity of emergent beam, I is the intensity of incident beam. So, I dash by I is equal to A1 square by A2 square. Now, how A1 and A2 are related? Again we could get those similar triangle. This is larger triangle, this is smaller triangle, they are similar. So, ratio of height and base will be equal, that is A1 by F1 will be equal to A2 by F2, or A1 by A2 will be equal to F1 by F2, or F1 square by F2 square will come here, or 30 square by 10 square, or 9, and that intensity I dash becomes 9 times the intensity of incident beam. So, this is how intensity of light has been increased, and as it is accumulating light by larger amount, this is why such a combination is also called accumulator. They are increasing the intensity of light. Now, we get lens and mirror in contact. How we could put lens and mirror in contact? The easiest way is that if we put silver coating on one of the surface, then the silver surface will behave as a mirror. As you know, silver is a very good reflector, that is, that surface coating will behave as a mirror, and lens is behaving like it itself. So, if we coat a lens with silver, then it effectively becomes like a mirror, and it becomes combination of two lenses and a mirror. How it effectively behaves like a mirror? If you notice, light is going from left, and after getting reflected from mirror, it is again coming to the left. It has properties similar to that of a mirror. But here, when light is going through this particular silver lens, what is happening? First it is passing through a lens, it is getting deviated, then it is getting reflected from the mirror, it is again getting deviated, then it is again returning back through that lens, it is again getting deviated. So, it is a combination of two lenses and one mirror, because each one is causing deviation in the path of light, and as light is coming out in same direction, the effective behavior of this combination is like a mirror. Now, what type of mirror will be there? That will depend upon the focal length, that will be getting later on. So, what we get? Effective power of the combination. If this is silvered lens, if P effective is the power, if P1 is that is bending by first lens, by mirror and then by lens, then the sum will be effective power, that is P effective is PL plus PM plus PL, that is 2 PL plus PM. If I put their relation with focal length, then we have 1 by F effective is equal to 1 by Fm minus 2 by Fl. Now, you will be getting surprised how this minus sign came. The minus sign came due to the proportionality relation. Let me write this effective power in terms of their focal length. Let me write this P effective is equal to 2 PL plus PM, this is P effective. Let me write minus 1 by F effective is equal to 2 by FL minus 1 by Fm. Notice, in case of P effective and PM I have written minus sign, because effectively it is behaving like a mirror, that is why I put minus sign, and for lens it is 2 by FL. If I solve it out, multiply it with a minus sign, then it becomes plus, it becomes minus, it becomes plus, and so is the relation. Okay. Now, you need to remember that when you will be considering it to be what type of mirror. If F effective comes out to be positive, then it behaves like a convex mirror or diverging mirror. If F effective comes out to be negative, it behaves like a concave mirror or converging mirror, and if F is equal to infinity, that means it is unable to converge or diverge light rays, it behaves as a plane mirror. Okay. Now, let us see certain problems. Now, we have plane side of a plano-convex lens of refractive index mu and radius of curvature r is silvered. Find effective focal length of the silvered lens. Now, we have a lens having refractive index mu, radius of curvature r, plane surface as radius of curvature infinity. Then what about the focal length of the lens? We can have 1 by FL to be equal to mu minus 1 into 1 by r minus 1 by infinity, that is mu minus 1 by r, and focal length of the mirror is r by 2, you know, that is infinity by 2, that is equal to infinity. Okay. So, what will be the focal length of the combination? Focal length of the lens we got, focal length of the mirror we got in the formula 1 by F effective is equal to 2 by FL, 1 by Fm minus 2 by FL. If I put the value, effective focal length comes out to be minus of r by twice of mu minus 1, that is it effectively behaves as a concave mirror. So, the effective behavior is like a concave mirror. Now, let us just change the lens the coating a little bit. Instead of plane side, we now coat it and on the curved side. So, what happens? Focal length of the lens remains the same, but focal length of the mirror gets changed. For this particular mirror, focal length is equal to minus of r by 2. Now, if we put that value, focal length to be minus r by 2, we get lens having same focal length, mirror having focal length minus r by 2. If I put the value, we get F to be equal to minus of r by 2 mu. Now, you could say this is still negative, but denominator is larger, focal length is smaller. Focal length is smaller means it is more powerful, it is more converging. This is more converging than the previous one. Now, we have a similar problem, but lens is of different type. We have now an equiconvex lens of refractive index mu and radius of curvature r, which is silvered. Find effective focal length of the silvered lens. So, now it is mu, both surface has radius of curvature, this side plus r, the other side has minus r. So, for mirror we have focal length minus r by 2, and for lens you could get 1 by FL to be equal to mu minus 1 into 1 by r minus 1 by minus r, or twice of mu minus 1 by r, and if you put that particular value for lens, and for mirror you could get focal length to be is equal to minus of r by twice of 2 mu minus 1. So, this focal length is even smaller, or the silvered lens is more powerful. Let us get one more problem. We have a thin concave or convex glass lens, refractive index is 3 by 2 of radius of curvatures 30 centimeter and 20 centimeter. We take upward direction to be negative, lower direction to be positive. This side has radius of curvature minus 30 centimeter, this side has minus 20 centimeter, and this refractive index to be 3 by 2. And we have a plane mirror, it is kept on a plane mirror. We need to find the position on the axis where image coincides with the object. So, first we need to find its focal length, and its behavior should be like a concave mirror. Then only you know that when object is placed at the center of curvature, image is formed at the center of curvature of concave mirror. Let us first find its focal length. So, for lens we could get, it is glass lens, so 3 by 2 minus 1, 1 by minus 30 minus 1 by minus 20, focal length of the lens comes out to be 120. The plane mirror has infinite focal length, so 1 by f is equal to 1 by fm minus 2 by fl. If I put the value, f comes out to be minus 60 centimeter. So, it behaves like a concave mirror having focal length how much? 60 centimeter. So, the object has to be placed at how much distance? At 2f, that is 120 centimeter, then object and image coincides. Okay. So, object and image coincides when it is 120 centimeter above the mirror. Now, what we do? We put a little bit of water in this particular problem, we fill it with water. So, we have a water lens here. Apart from a glass lens, we have a water lens. So, we need to get focal length of the water lens, and it is combination of two lenses. We get effective focal length and then the concept of silvered lens. So, if we get the focal length of water lens 1 by Fw, again be careful, we are not bothered about the refractive index of either side. We need to take focal length in air, because common medium is air. So, we get 4 by 3 minus 1 into plane surface has radius of curvature infinity minus 1 by minus 30. So, it is 1/3 or 1 by 30, that is 1 by 90. So, water lens has focal length 90 centimeter. So, this 90 centimeter is combined with 120 centimeter. So, how much is the focal length of the lens? 1 by FL is equal to 1 by 90 plus 1 by 120. So, we have this can be written as 360 and 4 plus 3. So, focal length of the lens is 360 upon 7. Now, we have a plane mirror. So, if we put the formula of silvered lens, then we could get 1 by f equal to 1 by infinity minus 2 by FL. So, it becomes 7 by 180, or focal length becomes 180 by 7 minus 180 by 7. Now, the question is, find the displacement of the object on the axis needed for image to coincide with the object. Initially, the object was at 120 centimeter. Now, the object will be at this particular distance will be twice of 180 by 7 or 360 by 7 centimeter. So, initially object was at 120 centimeter, now object has to be at 360 by 7 centimeter. So, you need to shift. So, how much will be the shift? That will be initially 120 minus 360 by 7. So, you could get 120 into 1 minus 3 by 7, that is 4 by 7 into 120 or 480 by 7 centimeter. So, image has to be shifted by 480 by 7 centimeter. This much has to be the shift, and which is approximately 68.6 centimeter. Clear? Now next we will be getting lens and mirror at some separation. When they are placed at some separation, we do not have any useful formula. What we will be doing? We will be taking object, finding image from the lens, getting reflected, that image will act as object for the mirror and then image is formed. That image by mirror may again behave as the object for the lens and we get the final image position. Okay. There we will be not getting any useful formula. In case of lenses at separation, the formula were not very important. We need to solve it individually for each question. So, no such formula is given. Now, we have a question, a point object and a diverging mirror are placed 30 centimeter left and right to a thin converging lens of focal length 20 centimeter. So, we have a converging lens. On one side at a distance 30 centimeter object is placed, on the other side we have a mirror placed that is also at 30 centimeter and we have diverging mirror or convex mirror. Length of the focal length of the lens is given to be 20 centimeter. Now, what is said that final image coincides with the object. Find focal length of the mirror. How image can coincide with the object? If light retraces its path. How light will retrace its path? When light is falling normally on the mirror, then it retraces its path. That is, the object which is for the lens is making an image, that image is at the center of curvature of the mirror. Let us see how it acts. We have a convex lens, object is at 30 centimeter from the lens, mirror is also at 30 centimeter from the lens, focal length of the lens is given to be 20 centimeter. So, where we could get the image? Where image is formed? Let us see, V is equal to UF upon U plus F, U is given to be minus 30, F is 20, by minus 30 plus 20, it comes out to be 60 centimeter. So, image has to be formed at 60 centimeter right to the lens, but at 30 centimeter itself mirror is there. So, image has to be formed at 60 centimeter. That means this rays should be going at 60 centimeter, but these rays are normal to the mirror. Normal drawn on the curved surface meets at center of curvature. So, this is center of curvature. It means this distance is 2f. This is pole of the mirror and 2f is how much? This is 60, this is 30. So, 2f is 30 centimeter. So, this gives f to be equal to 15 centimeter. So, focal length of the mirror is 15 centimeter. So, that you can get as focal length of the mirror to be 15 centimeter. Okay. Let us see one more problem. Now, we have a converging lens of focal length 20 centimeter. The lens has focal length 20 centimeter. It is placed at 0, 0 at the origin of the coordinate system and its principal axis is along x axis. We have a plane mirror and an object placed at 30, 0 and minus 30, 0. Again, the mirror is placed at 30, 0 and object is at minus 30, 0. So, this particular distance is 30, this particular distance is also 30. With mirror making an angle of 30 degree with the x axis, this particular angle is 30 degree. Find coordinate position of image after reflection from the mirror. So, you need to find image after reflection from mirror only, you do not need to get re-image from the lens again. So, first for lens, as we have seen previously, if focal length is 20, object distance is 30, so image distance comes out to be 60 centimeter, that you can calculate. So, these rays are supposed to meet 30 centimeter behind the inclined mirror. So, if these rays are meeting behind 30 centimeter at an angle 30 degree, so if I take another ray along the principal axis, it is making an angle of 30 degree with the mirror. As you know, for plane mirror, angle of incidence and angle of reflection are equal. So is the grazing angle, that is angle made by the incident light with tangent of the mirror and angle made by reflected light with tangent of the mirror makes equal angle. So, if it is incident at 30 degree, the reflected light also makes an angle 30 degree with the mirror. Now, one light ray has gone in this particular direction, making an angle of 60 degree with x axis. Other rays has to intersect somewhere on the on this particular ray, and wherever they will intersect, final image will be formed. So, let this other ray is intersecting somewhere here. As you could see that the rays are making images and the image and object will be making equal distance. This particular distance we got 30 centimeter. So, this particular distance will also be 30 centimeter, as the distance from the plane of the mirror are equal and angles are equal. So, this distance is 30 centimeter. Once you got this particular distance 30 centimeter, now you could get the coordinate position of the image. Let us see how we could get that coordinate position. As I have drawn it earlier, this is 30 centimeter, this angle is 60 degree. So, this particular distance, the x coordinate will be, this particular distance will be how much? 30 cos 60, that is 15 centimeter, and the point of intersection with x axis is already at a distance 30 centimeter from the origin. So, x coordinate will be 30 plus 15, that is 45 centimeter. The y coordinate is, this is 30 centimeter and this distance is 30 sin 60. Sin 60 is root 3 by 2 and this particular distance will come out to be 15 root 3 centimeter. So, image position after reflection is, its coordinate position is 45 comma 15 root 3 centimeter. All those derivations are given here, which I have just solved, and the final coordinate position is 45 comma 15 root 3. So, this is our idea of combination of lens and mirror in contact and at such separation. I hope you have liked this particular video, and for further information about such videos you can contact with me. These are my contact details. The mail ID is teamofkota@gmail.com. WhatsApp number is 9929068412, and these are some of my books from Tata McGraw-Hill which you can enjoy. Thank you.